Hi, I'm Ian Moore, and I'd like to talk to you today about the rule of three. The first rule of three, communication. Now, in this cycle here, in this pie chart, we can see the different areas of communication. One of the things that is fundamentally important when we are communicating with people is that, first of all, we are responsible for the signals that we push out to people and for how we interpret how people present themselves to us. And whether we like it or not, we're all filled with prejudices regarding our interpretation of the way people look, the way they sound, the color of their skin, their height, their hair, their age, whether they wear glasses or not. These are all signals that we take in and make a prejudicial response to. Now, in understanding how this happens, and let me say to begin with, this happens for everybody. We are all prejudiced. The problem in that context is whether we are going to be discriminating about that. Whether we like something or not is a natural thing. But whether we're going to take it to the next stage and discriminate against that person is the point where law comes in and good sense and moral order comes in. But in terms of the way we basically communicate with each other, these are the three areas that are fundamental to that process, okay? And by understanding how it actually works and the proportions of our communication signals allows us to adjust them if need be, okay? Or at least to know why we believe in these things. Not enough is done, I believe, for people to actually ask themselves some of those basic questions. Why do we believe in certain things rather than the fact of, well, I just do because I was raised that way? We do have a choice, and this is one of the ways that we can analyze it, step back, if you will, and look at the totality of a very important device by which we take in information and give out information. The first thing to understand is that almost 55% of the communication that you are now receiving from me is coming in my body. Is how I'm presenting myself, how I'm dressed, how I look, how I speak, how I make the shapes of the sounds, how I use my hands. These are all giving you indications of how to respond, how you would respond, whether it's like or dislike. But it's giving you signals. They're not always about right or wrong, but they're just giving you signals. Okay? But 55% of all that's happening right now, and as you listen and you communicate with others, all that's happening is 55% right now is the majority of that information that's coming in. The second is tonality, and that is 38% of this pie chart, okay? Meaning that the way I'm saying it, the tone that I'm using, sometimes the expressions of the words, okay, and how my body language is influencing those things. How whether you consider that I'm being persuasive about it, using a persuasive voice, or a demanding voice. Do this, do that, okay? These give you indications of how you would respond to me, and how I would like to respond to you if you were to do this to me, okay? A very, very important part, but one that we tend to neglect. We take the general extremes of those areas, of somebody shouting and being quiet, but we are constantly making these adjustments, even in the course of one sentence. We can do it high and low, we get into a rhythm, and these all indicate to the listener, as well as to the communicator, what they want to have understood about them, okay? Finally, we have verbal. The words that I'm using only contribute 7% of the information that is going out to you now. Now you may say, oh, I like that word, I understand that word, but for the most part, we are not listening to words. This is why, when we have these discussions on television and everything, and we have sound bites, that's one of the causes for sound bites, is because people are not, when they've done analysis, they found that people are not listening to the words. If I asked you now to stop this tape and recite word for word what I've just said to you, none of you would be able to get 100% of what I've said. I probably couldn't, okay? And I'm the one that's saying it, okay? We don't listen, and we cannot, because words are conceptual, they're abstract, we don't store them quite so easy, okay, in our brain. But we store the image very easily because we're very visual. We store the tonality because much of our information comes through our ears. We hear things better than we do the written word, which is of course why people have difficulty writing letters and why it's almost a dying art now, okay? So, in terms of communication, these are the three areas, okay, in our rules of three. I'm explaining them like this because I want you to understand that recognizing them means that you have a little bit more control over how you are presenting yourself. Whether this applies to meeting somebody, or getting a job, or just going to a new place. These images that you are presenting, whether you recognize it or not, are the things that you're going to be judged on. So understand that also as the way you judge other people, okay? By understanding that, you can adjust them, or at least understand how the kind of image that you are actually putting out, okay? So next time, this is Ian Moore.